let's get started. We're going to cover today a bunch of different topics about our relationship working together here and the results that we've seen. Newmetrix, StructionSite, and Obayashi. By the end of this webinar, you'll have a really good understanding of Obayashi and its Silicon Valley Ventures Lab. Really interesting approach as a large contractor, how they look at the overall spend of technology, how their budget process, and how they prioritize their investment. Then we're going to talk through how the three companies have partnered together and provide the results around the case study. And one of the key things that we're doing is we're also announcing a new integration here between Newmetrix and StructionSite that really streamlines the data flow. We're going to get to the results, how the data is being used, how it's translating reality capture data in the field into insights and metrics that can be used to reduce risk. Then we'll get to steps you can take to put this all into action yourself. So some quick intros. I'm Josh Kanner. I'm the founder and CEO of Newmetrix. I've got now it's close to 17 years experience in the construction technology world. Been working to bring technology to the field to construction since 2005. And now with Newmetrix, we're using all that data that's coming from the field to unlock value and identify areas of risk. I'm joined by Takashi, aka Taka Tsuchiya. He's a deputy section manager at Obayashi. He comes to us with 13 years at Obayashi, which, as he'll explain more in just a moment, is Japan's largest contractor. He's also been an associate project manager at WebCorp. He's based out on the West Coast, has a PhD in engineering, so tons of construction background and engineering expertise. I'm going to turn it over to my co-host here, Matt Daly, to introduce himself and set us up for Taka to take us through the background of Obayashi, SVVL, and the case study of how we all work together. And as I do that, I should say, Matt, sorry, just to interrupt you for a sec or pause you. We are taking Q&A in the chat. So I should have said at the beginning, if you have questions, you're on the webinar, just put them in the chat. We'll respond to you as soon as we can. And if we don't get a chance to respond to your questions, we'll get back to you via email. So with that little diversion out of the way, Matt, over to you.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, Josh. I'll make it a quick intro here. Matt Daly, co-founder and CEO here at StructionSite. Much like our friends at Newmetrix, a partner for a number of years now to the folks over at SVVL. It's been an awesome partnership, and we've learned a lot from these guys as both an investor and a customer. So yeah, really excited to be talking about this integration with these guys sort of at the forefront of it, and learn a little bit more. Go ahead and take it away, Taka.
Yeah, thank you. Well, so thank you for giving Obayashi this great opportunity to share what we are trying and working with Newmetrix and StructionSite. So we have a concept of the future Obayashi called the digitalized Obayashi. So as many of you can imagine, construction is an analog process, but recently the new technology or construction tech is changing the process into digital to improve the productivity and make the industry better, faster, safer. But I believe the Newmetrix and StructionSite work really important roles in this concept. So today I'd like to share how Obayashi is collaborating with them. So the first three, who is Obayashi and the Obayashi SVVL? So Obayashi is the largest general contractor in Japan. It has 130 years history and net sales around 16 billion. Just now I said that Obayashi is a general contractor. However, unlike US general contractors, Obayashi has full function related to construction, starting from research and development, urban planning, real estate development, design, and many types of civil construction, building construction, maintenance, facility management, renewal, tenant improvement, and a new business like renewable energy. We built the Tokyo Skytree, the largest world tallest freestanding tower in Tokyo, and Transbay Terminal in San Francisco downtown. And the next. So then Obayashi SVVL. why Obayashi established Obayashi SVBL, Silicon Valley Ventures Laboratory, behind me.
We got you. Yep.
So since there are three factors to make Obayashi unique, Obayashi established Obayashi SVBL. So the first one is Obayashi has a construction market in California. So Obayashi's group company, Webco Builders. And the second one is the Technology Research Institute. We call it TRI. So we have the R&D budget and also more than 280 researchers to be a leader of construction. And the last one is a business experience in the United States. So Obayashi is a Japanese general contractor, but also has more than 40 years business experience in the United States. So these three factors make Obayashi unique, and Obayashi established the SVBL to collaborate with construction tech companies. Next. Yeah. Then Obayashi announced the midterm corporate strategy in 2017. In this announcement, Obayashi has R&D budget, 1 billion for 5 years and 500 million for M&A. So Obayashi is using, Obayashi SVBL is using some portion of this budget to collaborate with startup companies and research institute.
So just to pause on that for a second and let it sink in, there's $1 billion being spent on R&D, US dollars, over the course of, you said what, 5 years, right? So 200 million a year in terms of R&D.
Yep. So Obayashi has a technology research institute. So we do have a lot of researchers and doing a lot of R&D projects. And some of them are used for actual project, and some are using for the analysis. Some are using for to create a daily product for the construction industries. And just Obayashi SVBL is using some portion of that. Wow.
Yeah, that really puts the construction technology spend of many other firms, puts that into perspective. That's a strong testament to your commitment to technology.
Yep.
Great.
Thank you. Yep. Then the next one is about I believe the Obayashi SVBL is a place to make the innovation happen. So after we got this insight, why it is hard to make the innovation happen in construction industries. We often use this metaphor. Construction process is like a big gear. So it's really powerful and works really slow. But after spinning, the gear doesn't like to be stopped or paused. So I say the general contractors have the culture which avoids the failures. Next one. However, startups are totally opposite. So they are like a small gears. It spins really quickly and promotes try and error to grow up. We think the gap between the big gear and the small gear, this makes innovation happens harder. So Obayashi SVBL works as a middle gear to adjust the big gear and small gears. For example, startup company makes the version 1 really early prototype and test at the SVBL, not the job site. So when we repeat testing, and eventually the product becomes version 10 and ready to go to the actual job site, we move to the job site. So the job site managers can accept it really easily. So this is how we collaborate.
Taka, the listeners may not know that SVBL is not just an office, it's actually a replica of a job site in Silicon Valley, as well as a test bed for field technologies.
Yes, exactly. So we do have the two facilities, one is the office, the other one is the garage. So in the garage, we do have the big mock-up. And if you want to do some testing, like rework testing or inspection product or other like drone companies, those companies can come and do the testing.
Yeah, it's really amazing when you visit it. It's a whole mock-up of a site inside, basically inside of the garage, as Taka mentioned. Great.
Then the next one is about how we collaborate with startup companies and research institute. So mainly Obayashi has 3 ways to collaborate. The first one is the co-development. So we have already started to work with SRI International. That's one of the big research institute in California with multiple projects to develop the state-of-art technologies. That's the first one. And the second one is startup equity investment. So you can see VCs and the startups Obayashi invested. Actually, Obayashi is investor of the both StructionSite and the Newmetrix. And the last one is the business development. Obayashi does the business development in APAC areas because Obayashi has a lot of job sites and branches in APAC areas. And Obayashi has started resale of the StructionSite in Japan last year in order to grow together with startup and digitize industries.
Yeah, Taka, I wanted to jump in and ask you, so like a lot of the executives we've been talking to lately are thinking a lot about how it is they're going to continue to grow their business sort of in the face of a talent and labor shortage, not just on the craft side, but also just people who can manage projects as well. Can you speak to how you guys are thinking about your digital strategy here as it relates to what you're trying to overcome from a talent and labor shortage?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, in Japan, labor shortage is also really big issues. So Obayashi is taking the multiple action to mitigate this risk. So the first one is the commendation. Obayashi chooses highly skilled workers as the super junior foreman and pay the additional allowance. And the second one is the training. We do also provide a training program to the construction workers, including the subcontractors. Obayashi has a group of subcontractors called the Rin Yukai. So we did create one school to provide a training program to them. And in the training program, actually we use some technologies like BL system to learn how to inspect the weavers and so on. And the last one is providing the better working environment. Actually, this is really crucial. So Obayashi is trying to create a better environment, while the most important one is actually creating the productive work experience. Using technology is really crucial. So for example, all Obayashi workers have the iPad and using the application in the job site. So for Obayashi is taking those kind of risk mitigation actions for the labor shortage.
Awesome, sounds good.
Great, I'll keep things moving for you here, Taka.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then next I'd like to talk about the vision of the digitalized construction. So the first one is what is digitalized construction? Well, let's learn from the advanced industry, autonomous cars. So the industry defined the 5 levels of autonomy and developed it step by step from the level 1, starting from no automation, drive assistance, partial, conditional, high, and full automations. Then what if we apply this concept idea to the construction digitalization? Next, please. Then we set 5 levels, starting from level 1. Level 1 is a digitization and visualization. Currently, many data in the site are analog. We often use a phone, paper, whiteboard, or illustration to communicate. At this level, all data will be digitized, such as 360 images, chat, or standard photos, or some applications. The next one is level 2, using the advanced tool, such as 360 videos, to accelerate reality captures. At this level, tons of data will be stored, and the dashboard will be prepared to understand the big data trend. That's level 2. And level 3, big data is good, but people would like to see only digested data, like summary, such as the progress percentage, or not the whole big data. That's too big. So it takes time to digest or translate the big data. But recently, new technologies like automations or AI application help us to understand the data, what the person exactly needs. For example, like progress tracking or actionable items for safety in the site. And the next one is level 4, integration among softwares. The data is shared with multiple applications and create a new value. And the last one is level 5, integration with hardwares. Capturing is a gateway between the real and the cyber. So in near future, I believe that many type of the autonomous hardwares, such as drones or ground robots, will integrate with software to automate the whole process. So in case of the structure site, starting from the 360 images and moving to the VideoWalk and the smart track. And in case of the Newmetrix, starting from the capturing and the image dashboard and predictive analysis. So now I'd like to pass to Matt, StructionSite, for the service intro.
Yeah, thanks, Taka. It is exciting. I like your analogy there with autonomous vehicles. I think it makes a lot of sense as we sort of think about how things are continuing to progress. I hope we get to the drones and robots part faster, and that we don't have to go all the way to level 5 for that. But yeah, just a quick intro to StructionSite. We're a intelligent project tracking solution that combines cameras with AI-powered software to basically automate the process of capturing, organizing, and ultimately quantifying what work got put in place on a job site. One of the things we're really proud about is going all the way back to our founding team. We are for builders by builders, so we've lived a lot of the problems that we're solving today and that we're trying to automate for. The way the software actually works, if there are those who haven't seen us around, basically builder walks the job site, recording a 360-degree video. The software is going to map that onto a floor plan and create a navigation experience that feels kind of like Google Street View. What our customers are getting in return for that is really, reduced rework because they can see behind their walls and inside their slabs. Way more efficient from a travel perspective, which has obviously become very important in COVID, being able to remotely visit and tour a job site without physically being there. And then just coverage for legal litigation claims, things that come up later, which inevitably reduce the amount of fees that we actually take home on jobs. So protecting our customers from that. So yeah, that's a little bit about us.
I'll introduce a little bit about Newmetrix, and then we'll turn it back to Taka to talk about how the three companies have been working together. At Newmetrix, we're building on top of the data that StructionSite is gathering, as well as being gathered in other systems, and applying construction-trained AI to use that data to measure, predict, and prevent safety incidents. We've now gathered over 12.5 centuries of construction incident data, observation data, hundreds of millions of AI-based observations. We use these, as Taka's going to go into detail, to show about to generate opportunities for engagement. So it's not just AI as a technology, it's a way of helping to reinforce conversations on the job site and also generate data that can help focus attention and really save time. Ultimately, as Matt talked about earlier, we see it everywhere as well, the labor and talent shortage. What we're able to do through the construction-trained AI on top of your image data as well as other data is help you know where to focus your attention. You know which 20% of jobs are going to have 80% of your incidents every week. What that does is it helps you save time because you know where to focus, reduce your incident rates, and ultimately improve your insurance terms. Because you're able to not only lower your EMR and lower your other critical metrics, you're also able to show to those firms that you are going above and beyond in the area of safety. So what we've done with StructionSite, and we're really happy to announce it in this webinar, is to integrate deeply to grab both images as well as video walks to automatically flow into Newmetrix. It's super configurable. If you can choose one or both, you can choose how much data to get, and it's automatic. If you can log into StructionSite, you can connect it up to Newmetrix, and it literally takes less than 90 seconds to get the systems connected. So it's a really great opportunity if you're using StructionSite already. you're thinking about StructionSite and you're wondering, can I, in addition to progress tracking, also get benefits around safety and safety risk? The two platforms together are now really deeply integrated, and it's super easy to get the value of the data that you're gathering and use it not just on one job, but be able to use it across your company as a part of your overall how you both take a look at jobs as well as get interesting and valuable data around safety and safety risk, safety trends. So to talk about how that works, I'm going to turn it back to Taka, who will walk you through how Obayashi's been using both products and now the integration. Taka, back to you.
Yep, thank you so much. Okay, well, let me talk about how Obayashi is using the StructionSite and the Newmetrix together. So this is the data from the return with the StructionSite and Newmetrix integration. The green arrow is a data flow. So Obayashi has used StructionSite more than 200 sites, mainly in Japan, but some are like APAC areas such as Singapore, Indonesia, or Taiwan. And most of the cases, workers and project engineers or managers are shooting 360 pictures. But Obayashi chose some sites as a focus site and also shooting to the third-party companies. We call it digital delivery. With this outsourcing, the project managers can get tons of data, especially weekly data, 360 videos and images at the same point. So this provides a lot of benefit to the project sites to improve the productivity, but also provide a lot of benefit to the many stakeholders, for example, like inspectors, designers, or engineers, executives in headquarters, or sometimes owner sites too. Now, StructionSite and Newmetrix integrate through APIs. So this provides project sites and many stakeholders additional benefit automatically. Automatically is really powerful and important. Since data is coming from the StructionSite automatically, project sites do not have to care the capturing for the Newmetrix at all. So project site can see the risk with the quantitative data, and safety managers in branch headquarters can prioritize the site with the data. So let's see some use cases. So the first one is the return of the StructionSite. So this is an example from a 24-month project in Obayashi, Japan. So this site outsourced the shooting, but Obayashi estimates the return is more than double of the investment. So the first one is for the project managers. So due to 360 images, project managers can have the better communication, and they succeeded to reduce the number of documents such as RFI or change order a lot. This reduces like 75 man-hour. That's the first one. And the next one, this is actually the biggest portion for this project. This is for the project engineers or project managers in the site. In Japan, unlike United States, responsibility of the project managers and the superintendent are not separated. So only one person or same person sees the contract side and actual job side, both sides. So they need to visit the site so many times from the office or trailer. But using the StructionSite, they can reduce the number and the time to visit the site a lot. So they can communicate with subcontractors much efficiently. So that's the second one. And the third one is interesting, a defect. A defect is one of the troublesome issues to investigate. It takes time to find out which company scratched the wall. However, in this site, subcontractors report the defect from themselves because they know the Obayashi is shooting all the job sites regularly. This is interesting. And the fourth one is for stakeholders, like design companies. So they also can reduce the number and time to visit the job site with the StructionSite. And the last one is similar to the third one. So since subcontractors know the person holding the camera is shooting the video all the time, so subcontractors realize to be watched by cameras. So this is like an additional safety patrol effect. So as a result, Obayashi sees the instruction site provide the reality of the site, and also this makes the communication much faster, efficient. So this is the return of the instruction site. And the next one is about Newmetrix. But before talking about the benefit, I would like to explain one thing. This is really common expectation from the project managers. When we explain the like AI for safety, maybe many or maybe most all of the project manager imagine like this. Okay, they can use AI to detect the unsafety situation immediately, like real time. So if we can get a notification from the system immediately, we can prevent the disaster. That's the really common expectation. Yes, that could be one of the applications, but there are some challenges. Mainly they are coming from the real-time issue. So if we would like to detect the unsafety situation real time, we need to capture all the places. And as you know, the construction site changes dynamically. It's not quite easy to set the camera all places. Also, process time is another challenge. For example, people under crane. This is one of the unsafety situation. And even though the system can detect it, the situation lasts only maybe a couple 10 seconds, or sometimes a couple seconds. To notify the unsafety situation real time, the system needs to capture the image, send the data, process, and send the notification to the person nearby the unsafety situation within 10 seconds. This is not quite easy to do. So therefore, we explain the Newmetrix estimate or predict the risk of the site with the data, not to detect the unsafety situation real time. Then I'd like to talk about the Newmetrix return in Obayashi job site. So we have the two ways. The first one is a project site. So Newmetrix can create a safety report and photo report automatically and regularly. After setting once, you can get a weekly and monthly report. For example, in Japan, most of the job sites have the morning gathering, like from 8 a.m. Then share the today's risk items, like what is a risky item and what we need to be careful to mitigate the risk. One young project engineer who has only 2 years experience needs to make an action item every day in the morning gathering. For safety, experience is the source of knowledge. And he's looking for something to make him convincing more. With a Newmetrix, he used to mention based on his experience and knowledge, but now he can mention data. For example, work at height score from the Newmetrix is double from the 2 weeks ago. This risk is getting higher. Of course, he can mention the same thing without data, but if he can provide the data, this number is really powerful to get the workers' attention. So that's the return for the project side. And the next one is the return benefit for the safety groups. Well, Japan is a small country compared to the United States, but almost same size as California. Obayashi has more than 800 job sites in Japan, and the safety directors needs to visit them. Before, they made a call a site and understand the situation and share the status, check the project schedule, and decide their safety patrol schedule, like which job site they're going to go for the safety patrol. One safety director told me that they can reduce the travel time to the particular site from 2 times a month to 1 time a month. But sometimes it takes really long time, like half day or sometimes maybe 6 hours to visit just job site. So if we can reduce this number, that's really huge. So with the dashboard, they can prioritize the sites to visit and focus on what they really need to do. So this is a benefit for the headquarter safety patrol groups. And this is a sample of the J standard dashboard, we call it. that's in Japanese language. So this is based on the picture data from the StructionSite, same as the US dashboard. It has the project scores and subcontractors and each scopes.
And I'll show it in English later.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, move to next. Then as a result, Obayashi recognized the Newmetrix provide benefit, different types and data and frequency. When we take the impact for vertical in this chart and the frequency of the action for horizontal, we can map like this. So professional safety patrol from the headquarter or safety directors have the really high impact, but they cannot visit the job site so often. And on the other hand, internal safety review or personal daily check has a high frequency, but always same person. So the same viewpoint for the safety. But the Newmetrix provide the frequent data for the safety professional and also different eyes for project site. I believe this enhances the engagement with data. And this also improves the safety morale and matures the safety culture of the corporation. So those are the benefits and what we are trying with Newmetrix and StructionSite. Then, and this year, Obayashi is heading to the next journey with them. So the first one is the smart track, which is a smart progress tracking with StructionSite, and also predictive-based safety, which provide actionable items for each site with Newmetrix. I believe that these services minimize the required resources and maximize the benefit for productivity and the safety both sides. Yep. So this is what Obayashi is trying with them and collaborate with them. Thank you for listening. I hope this can share the result. We can share the our new challenges this year in the future.
That's great, Taka. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to add a little bit more detail, and then Matt and I will wrap things up here. So a little bit more detail on the case study together. So Taka mentioned opportunities for engagement. We think of those on the Newmetrix side as also tags. So these are places where the AI has seen things in the imagery from StructionSite. These are just some examples in the last 18 months. Housekeeping, person at height, standing water. These are just 3 examples of the different kinds of things that the AI is finding. To give a feel for the magnitude here, it's close to 1.3 million observations were made over the course of 18 months across all the visual data. So there's a lot of data there, a lot of data points to use. They don't all obviously, you don't look at every one of them. You just look at the ones that are highest risk, and you can use them for opportunities for engagement and trends. The kinds of other things in addition to those that the AI is looking for is everything, and some of these are new for us. Ergonomics, so improper body positioning, all the way through to guardrail issues, missing toe boards here, ladder use issues, ladder setup, impalement hazard, all kinds of things that the AI is looking for in the visual imagery coming from the site. And as Taka mentioned, you can set up automated reports based on what you care about. So you don't have to look at every single thing, but if you care a lot about, let's say, ergonomics, you can set up chronic improper body positioning reports to be sent to you. Fall protection, of course, is always a risk. So that's set up, you can set that up and get notified on that as well with the examples. You can also then track trends in the web. So whether it's, as Taka mentioned, work at height is going up doubles, and that's a great opportunity to raise awareness on site and to focus attention. Last but not least, you saw the JStandard dashboard. Here it is in English. There's a whole bunch of ways to slice and dice the data that's coming back from the job site around the activities that are going on. And then the underlying risk. So this then gives you the projects organized in a way that gives you visibility into their risk and gives you the ability to act on it. It also all feeds into what Taka mentioned that we're working on this year, something called predictive-based safety, where the data, visual data, comes in and is combined with predictive analytics to actually not just identify trends, but predict which jobs are at risk for an incident. Ultimately, this is about driving loss reduction, lowering not just your incident rate, but your overall cost of insurance. We have partners like AXA and the Hartford that we've been working with to do that. So we use a bunch of data around predictive-based safety, everything from safety observations and incidents to your project image data, like we're talking about today, time card data, ERP data. We pull it all together and we use it to ultimately, we pull it in actually from a bunch of the systems here that you can see. So we have integrations built with these systems, and ultimately we use this to really focus your attention on which projects, which 20% of jobs are going to have 80% of the incidents every week. So this gets back to the talent and labor shortage in construction. If you have 20 jobs or 100 jobs, what's the best place to focus your attention? How do you do it and save time? Well, if you know where your risk is, you can continue to operate and manage that risk, but do it in a way that's much more scalable. And that's really the key benefit here is saving time. You can, as Obayashi estimated, they were saving over 60 hours of time per month per branch because they could prioritize jobs based on risk. Of course, reducing incident rates is a huge benefit as well. There's no magic here. It's not just the technology, it's also the process the technology ties to. Maybe there is a little bit of magic in the AI. It does always seem magical that computers can actually recognize things and can predict things. But at the end of the day, it's got to be used by people. So operations and safety, they get engagement opportunities delivered to their inbox in those PDFs. They also get a ranking of which projects to focus on, plus all the areas to work on and positives to reinforce. And last but not least, a huge benefit is to use this as ammunition to negotiate better insurance rates and win more work, because you can show it basically as a part of not just the results, but also your program can be really compelling to the owner. And so those are some of the benefits. I'll turn over to Matt for some key takeaways and to take us home.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. I think one of the major themes here is getting twice the amount of value for your data, and finally, delivering this integration where VideoWalks are being pulled in as well. Is those of us that have tried to get project teams to capture information in the field know that one of the biggest challenges is helping them understand the why, right? Why am I going to do this? Why am I going to invest this time to capture this data? And the answers to that question are now increasing, right? So an integration like this is starting to give us more reasons, and the people in the team, in the field, more reasons for why they should spend time capturing this data, because that value they're getting back is starting to increase very rapidly. So I think that's one of the things I'm most excited about. So when we talk about getting consistent, reliable data, one of the reasons that we believe integrations like these will continue to increase that consistency and reliability of that data is because the value that, for example, you're now going to get from a Newmetrix for the same amount of effort you already put in to capture with StructionSite to begin with. And yeah, just this other theme of focusing your time and energy where you should be focusing your time and energy, and using data to actually not replace the human, but help the humans be smarter about where they spend their time and their resources. Cool, you want to jump to the next one? So if you're interested in learning about more, there's a QR code on the screen here. You can hold your camera phone up to that thing and it will take you straight to the website. You got my email in here, you got Josh's email in here. If you are a StructionSite customer and you haven't started using Newmetrix yet, definitely it's time to check it out, because this integration makes the workflow really seamless. Yeah, that's pretty much it from my side. Josh, you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, great. Thanks, Taka. Thanks, Matt, for the partnership on this. It's been great working together on this. The integration is, Obayashi was really at the forefront of it and has seen the benefits, as Taka has illustrated today. So really appreciate you sharing the results of the case study and a bit about Obayashi as a firm. I think it's fascinating for all the construction tech folks and folks here in the U.S. to see how much of a leading firm Obayashi is and how much they're investing in their strategy to really drive technology as a core differentiator and with their digitization approach. So appreciate everybody's time and great to share the results. And you know, the industry over the last 15, 20 years has only become more digitized. Partnerships like this show the potential value here of starting to put together all this digital data from multiple sources, collaborating together to deliver new value to the project and to the company overall. So with that, I think we'll close things out. Thanks, Taka, and thanks, Matt, for the collaboration and for working on this webinar with us.
Thank you, Taka. Appreciate it, Josh.
Thank you, Josh.
Take care, guys. Bye now.